Good morning. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful fall day for you to come and be with us here today at this fellowship and on Zoom, and for some later in the archives. So we're glad to be with you for another day of reflection and introspection. I'm Dave Bianchi, your worship associate, and I'm really looking forward to today's service. So if you're new to us, know that we're a welcoming community and that we care deeply for all people, regardless of racial identity, economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Our mission is to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. So Mass here at the fellowship are once again optional, so we'll respect one another's decision about face coverings and social distancing. And those of you on Zoom will remain muted during the service, but you can put comments in the chat box. There'll be a coffee time following the service, so stay on and enjoy one another's company and conversation. So no matter where you are today, sit back, enjoy, and thank you. Thank you for being with us. And today we're going to, if you're comfortable doing so, greet one another with a handshake if you're comfortable doing so, with an elbow bump, or just say hello. Let's take a few minutes and we'll end with a singing bowl.
Let's start again.
What a glorious fall day it is to be together today, both on Zoom and in this space. One of my favorite songs by the Indigo Girls, perhaps the favorite song by the Indigo Girls, is a song called Closer to Fine. And the key line in that song says, "The less I seek my source for some definitive." I have threatened to do a service on that song and probably will do that at some point. The less I seek my source for some definitive, the closer I am to fine. And what I think that's about is welcoming mystery, not needing to have all the answers, living and loving the questions. That's what we're about today, is delving deeper into Unitarian Universalism and what that journey might mean for each of us. And so let us come present to that possibility of expanding, learning, articulating, and seeing where we are with the adventure that is Unitarian Universalism. I'm going to invite Bob Alto to come light our chalice this morning, and those of you who are joining us on Zoom can access the chalice that you have nearby as we light our chalice together. We gather as one community today. We call into connection our satellite community worshiping out at Davis Creek Campground this morning. And we call into connection those gathering on Zoom around Northern Nevada and those gathering on Zoom from Bishop and Carson and Michigan. All of us, we gather as one community. This flame reminds us that we hold one another in community as one. May the mystery that is the strength, the grace, the beauty that we find in community uplift us this day.
You may have noticed that we are missing Mary Lee this morning, which means you have to sing louder. So if you would please rise as you're willing and able to sing Gathered Here. We're going to do it a cappella. For those of you who don't know, that means without an instrument. I want this side of the room to be the second part and this side of the room to be the first part. This is a round like row, row, row your boat. We're going to sing it all the way through once together just so everybody can remember, and those of you who don't know it can learn it. And then we're going to do the round, and I will cue you. All right? Here we go. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in one strong body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the mystery of the body. Gathered here is one strong body. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw mystery of the hour. Gathered here in the mystery of the body. Gathered here is one strong body. Gathered here in the struggle.
Ones, repeat that. Spirit, draw near.
Spirit, draw near.
How we're good. Well, this is the time of our service when we offer our bounties to each other to continue our positive and far-reaching outreach to our fellowship and to the greater community. A basket will be circulated for those of us here, those of you on Zoom, or even those of you here can text 73256, putting UUFNN in the message box and hit send. You can also mail a check to the office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno 89511. Or better yet, you can sign up for automatic giving. There's a couple of ways to do that, so contact the office and Carol will explain the options. It's a simple and convenient way to give. So each month, we select a local nonprofit to share our plate with, and this month, we're donating to our center. Our center was created when it was noticed that the LGBTQ community was in need of a place that provided programs, services, and resources for the community. The group was incorporated as a nonprofit organization in May of 2009. The center seeks to build, connect, and strengthen the LGBTQ community through community building, arts and culture programming, and inclusive activities. Programming and resources are designed for youth, seniors, and families. Some of the programs include LGBTQ Veterans Peer Group, Transgendered Youth Support Group, Parenting, and Queer Sex Education. Health concerns are addressed, including HIV and STDs testing, recovery and support, and by forming connections with other community health services. The center advocates for equality for all individuals and their families. So thank you for sharing your resources for our center. So if you're texting, you can option a direct donation to the fellowship or to the designated nonprofit. So thank you for your generosity. And will the ushers please come forward? Would you please join David and me as we bless our offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. by Joanna Fontaine Crawford, delivered by CMR Rodriguez. Oh, she's got to have her own mic. And myself.
I'll give this a try. Every third Tuesday, I am a Buddhist. I empty my mind and lighten my heart and try to let go of attachments.
Every other Friday, I'm a Christian. I look for the least of these and try to love God and my neighbor.
The full moon of the month finds me a Wiccan. I honor the dual nature of God and find my rhythm as a maiden, a mother, and a crone.
On the 15th of the month, I'm a humanist. I respect science, integrity of fellow humans, and all that we have learned and have made.
Every fourth Wednesday, I am a Hindu. I take a breath and understand that what is unfinished now will remain for me to continue next life.
On alternate Fridays, I'm Jewish. Yavgaraka, Adonai, Yevishimaraka. I tell my children, softly touching each head.
And on Thursdays and Mondays and the Saturdays and Sundays and all the other days in between, I find me reading or listening or watching philosophers, Muslim, Mormons, Baha'i, and more. Fill my heart, touch my soul.
And yet, the one thing that none of these provide to me is the certitude that they are the one. They lend me wisdom, sing to my heart, cause me to question, help me find answers, make me more me. And at the end of the day, every day, I'm a Unitarian Universalist.
In parcel and pledge, and with all my heart, all my soul, all my mind, and all my strength, I honor this faith. I hold it close as it lets me run free.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life a shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
As we join together in these our few moments of community prayer and meditation, I want to begin by celebrating together that Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman ever on the United States Supreme Court, participated in her investiture on Friday. And so we gather our hearts and our spirits and our minds. May we feel our feet on the floor. Take a few deep breaths as I share these words for our meditation by Tricia Goodwin. May you never again feel paved over. Trying to grow while forced to make yourself palatable to tradition's sensibilities. Breathe now, eyes closed, hands pressed to sternum, feeling the truth of fecundity, of guidance, of love, of growing within your own being. As what cemented you erodes, become shifting sand. Turn to the depths of your own heart and let her hold you, ground you, nurture all your secret, sacred longings until they stretch to the light, opening, unfurling, drawing strength from new roots. Bless yourself the way the earth blesses herself, with growth, with abundance, with seed, and with dormancy and devastation and rebirth. Know how unimaginably expansive you are compared to the smallness of convention's constraints. How rooted you are in your own belovedness, even when you forget. May your remembering, reconnecting, reaching into the depths of your spirit, your heart's own rich soil, nourish your becoming. And so we take these few moments of silent meditation as those who are on Zoom with us record what is on their hearts in the chat. And so we gather all that is in our hearts this day. Those expressions that we are able to speak and those things that are held in such deep places that we have no words. And we gather them all together, our worries, our fears, our joys, our celebrations, our concerns. And we hold them together in the heart of love. And we share what has become our gesture, our signature expression. One hand on the heart, one hand with palm extended forward as our way of saying one to another, you are not alone. We see you, we hear you. We all are connected. Blessed be, and amen.
Sing in my heart.
As I mentioned today, we're all about deepening, exploring, learning, experiencing, exploring, which leads to articulating our UU faith. Let's see what we can glean from this brief video.
People often say that we've always been Unitarian Universalists, but we just didn't know what to call it.
We were mixed marriage, Jewish and Congregationalist, and we just tried Unitarianism, and we came for our children, and we stayed for ourselves.
I grew up in Texas to a Muslim community, and so a lot of the community life was centered around the mosque. I feel like with Unitarian Universalism, I'm able to get that really strong and important, I think, feeling of building beloved community.
Everyone here knows who I am. They know who the woman I've been in a relationship with 15 years is. They appreciate that relationship and they respect it, and I am encouraged to come and be me. And that is the first place I've ever been able to be me.
I invite you to join me in appreciating the unspeakable beauty of what happens here week after week.
When people ask me what is Unitarian Universalism, I like to pull out the first principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
We have a spectrum theologically that runs from Christianity and Judaism to atheism, agnosticism.
We are not the kind of church that says, if you don't believe in our God, you're going to hell.
People who come out of a variety of faiths can come together here knowing that their particular way of understanding truth and meaning will be appreciated and accepted.
This is a place where you're welcome, where you're invited into fuller relationship with yourself, with the spirit of life, with other people, to build a better world and to build a better you.
You walk in the door and it's like, hi, who are you? Come in, and immediately you feel that you have inherent worth as a person.
It's just the most amazing thing to be nourished body and soul by a community.
People in my generation, they'll say they're spiritual, but they're not religious. They don't like organized religion. And the UU church, I mean, yeah, it's a church, but it's non-creed oriented. It's open, it's welcoming.
I can bring my atheist mother here, and my Catholic ex-husband, and my modern Orthodox trained Jewish children, and we're just all loved.
This liberal religious tradition has a very distinctive message, and it is attracting people that haven't been hearing it elsewhere.
It was liberating, it was freeing, it was challenging, all those things that I was looking for in a religious place and a religious community.
And so we're going to have a conversation today. We all are going to have a conversation today. And I don't know how many of you have ever played a game called Freeze, but this is how it works. You have some folks in a conversation in some chairs, and whenever someone wants to add something, you call out freeze, or you come tap someone on the shoulder so that you can tap in and add a little bit to the conversation. So I have just a couple of questions that we're going to explore, and I'm going to invite a couple of brave souls to help us start off. Maybe some folks who have been Unitarian Universalists for a little while, because the first question is going to be, what has it meant to you to be Unitarian Universalists? If you have something you would like to say, would you come be some of the first brave ones to sit in the chair? Just come on up if the Spirit moves. And we're going to try to include our Zoom folks if we can, if we're able to show our Zoom folks on screen, and we'll try to engage them if they have something to offer to participate as well. So our first brave souls up here are Dave and Jackie, and they're going to, I'm sorry, what was your name again? I apologize. Jackie and Philip to share with us a little bit about what it has meant to you to be a Unitarian Universalist.
One of the reasons we came back to the church was to provide a spiritual faith for our daughter. Little did I know how important it was to find a place where she can be who she is. Thank you.
Get me crying too. I came here about 30 years ago to find community, and I found it. I haven't left. This is a blessed place with the best group of people. I have a printout on my desk at home, and it says, "I want to be with people." And we often say that we want to be with people that think alike, but that poem, and it's really long and I don't have it in my head, but it's more a place where we can be, where we can talk and not be judged. We don't have to think alike, to love alike, as we often hear, but we have to be at a place where we're comfortable to talk and share and learn and keep growing. And am I hearing a freeze?
I was brought here by a previous minister's husband.
Thank you.
Okay. And anyway, I taught his children, and Stillman said, "You know, you have to come to our church because you are a total Unitarian and you don't know it." So that's how I came in 03 and joined in 04. But this is a place where you can do social justice work, because I totally believe that's the only reason we're here. So anyway, I love this place.
Well, I guess I've been here for 28 years and had my grandparents here before me, but I was also in Lexington and Louisville at other UU churches. But for me, coming from a Christian upbringing, but never being a good, rock-solid believer, and always having trouble with that, when I walked into Unitarian Universalist churches for the first time, it was just this overwhelming expansion and feeling of freedom and feeling like I belonged. I do love the denomination overall, and I love everyone here.
Walking isn't my strong suit right now, but to me, as a newer member of the church, the fact that I'm pagan, nobody cares. They're just like, "Hey, cool." And the acceptance that I've never seen in any of the religions I've participated in before is just overwhelming. And especially in the last few weeks, you guys have really come through for me. And that, I think, is really the spirit of this church, is no matter what, if there's something you need, they'll figure out a way to make sure that you have access to it. Whether it just be a hug, a visit to the hospital, a meal, someone to just make sure you don't fall and kill yourself in the house after an accident, any of that stuff. Just knowing that people care is the most important thing. And it's really, something that all my life has made me different, not always accepted, is that wanting to help and needing to help. And now I've found a place where I can help as I can, and they're happy to have me when I can do it. So I love you guys.
So I like to tell people I found the UUs the old-fashioned way via Google. You know, I was looking for a spiritual community, and when I found the article on Unitarian Universalism, I literally went to my wife and I said, I think I found my people. My whole life I've never belonged to an organized church, and I've dabbled in nearly everything, mostly, you know, through reading and self-practice. And one of the things I love most about being here is it gave me that framework to kind of accept my amalgam of beliefs and really turn it into my whole self. And then I've been able to stretch that into deeper engagement with the community. I'm way more socially active now than I ever was in my life prior to coming here. And it's kind of funny because I still feel like a new member, and I was just checking, and I joined in 2011, so I've now crossed that 10-year threshold. So, but you know, like others have said here, you know, I'll be a Unitarian for life, and I can't ever envision leaving this place. Thank you.
Hi, I am the other. A little closer. I am the other, and whenever I've been thrown out of a lot of churches and a lot of jobs, marriage. Anyway, when I first came here, I was a traveling scientist up at Renown, and my very first Sunday here, because I was like, oh my gosh, I can like be myself, and if you're trans, that's a big deal. And my first Sunday here was the one where Joanne was standing there as a man. Y'all remember that one? And I was like, sorry guys, I'm gonna mess up my mascara. Oh, I can't finish. So being here, I brought Lisa and Elisa and Casey and his now gone boyfriend, but we all came from Texas because we knew there was something here. We liked Renown. I mean, I worked at Renown, and they were a great place to work. And Reno was fantastic. The mountains, you can feel the strength in the mountains. But here, the heart is here. And it has meant so much to me. I've begun transitioning because of you here. And I'm beginning to become my actual self for the first time in 54 years. So you guys all have a part of this. And so if I sing a little loud and act a little crazy, it's because I love you guys. Thanks.
You're it. I was just thinking this morning that Jim and Betty Holtz and I were talking about our fellowship and how we have grown. And it's the angels that come to us, and you all are the angels. This would not have worked if we hadn't had people come and do the things they've done here. And it continues, it continues. That's what's the greatest thing about our fellowship.
You know, after 55 years of membership as a Unitarian Universalist, I no longer sit around or stay awake at night wondering about God, who God is, what sex God is. I don't really worry about the afterlife. I'm more concerned about the here and now than the hereafter. And to me, that's very freeing And yet, coming to this place is so spiritual and such an opportunity to center each week and know what's important in life.
Oh my gosh, aren't we heavy? Tears and philosophy and all that good stuff. I just want to say to all of you out there, and especially those on Zoom, and even the people who aren't here, and I know somewhere they're listening, that this is just a fun place to be. Represented here today are my kayaking group, my hiking group, and I'm old. And you keep me young. Thank you.
Drop the mic. Hi guys. I came here a while back, 2012. It was a bad time for me in many ways. I was sick. I had just lost an election that I thought I was going to win. Everything seemed to go crazy, and the previous minister said, "You need to come to my church." And I laughed and I said, "Another church? Oh, for God's sake." I was a Catholic, born and raised a Catholic. I think I have dabbled in every single religion there is out there, and I did not fit. I was not the right person. It wasn't the fit. But that day I was sick. It was a Sunday, and I was so sick. And I said, I'm going to give it a try. And I walked through those doors, and I felt the love. I felt the compassion. I felt wanted. For first time in my life in a church, I felt good. Thank you. I'm not leaving. You're stuck with me.
I'll try not to burst into tears, but I did cry for a week when the Waltons' cow died, so it's quite possible it could happen any minute. My religious journey, I'll make it super short. It went from being born a Methodist to seeking something different, something better, something more honest. It led from there to Episcopalian, but it had to be Anglo-Catholic High Church Episcopalian. Went from there to being Russian Orthodox. And then it went from there to being nothing. And I would stand for the creed and think, I no longer believe this. Should I sit and not stand? Should I stand and not speak? Should I quit coming? And then after several years of going nowhere, in 2000, I visited Emerson Unitarian in Houston, Texas, which was where I walked my dog from my apartment through their memorial garden. And then the next Sunday, I visited a fellowship, Unitarian fellowship, and they didn't have a minister. It was lay led, and the pianist played Broadway musicals every time she played. And I loved it. Thank you. You've been a wonderful part of my life, a rich part of my life, rich. Thank you.
I wonder if you're like me and you might be out at a restaurant or talking with someone and the subject of church comes up and you start to try to explain about Unitarian Universalism. Mark, you're laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So part of what we're about today, and it's not a requirement to cry, it's not a requirement to not cry if you come up here, but part of what we're about today is articulating our faith, the way that we tell people about it. We're talking about what it means, but when you get in those situations, it's great to have some thoughts and some ideas and ideals in order to help us articulate our faith, right? And so the next question is, what do you think are the hallmarks of Unitarian Universalist faith? Another way to ask it might be, what draws us to Unitarian Universalism? But what do you think are the hallmarks of Unitarian Universalist faith?
Alan Jordan has something to say.
Great. We'll need them to unmute, Mary.
Hi, guys. My name's Alan, and I came to Unitarian Universalism. This sort of answers both questions, because at the time I had married a Catholic, and I was Jewish, and we were having a child. And we wanted to have someplace for a child to grow up. And it made a huge difference that we could find a church where everybody could be happy and nobody had to be estranged. And that relationship has lasted for a very long time now. And I'm pleased to say that in all the time that my child has grown up, there has never been one fight about religion. That's just amazing to me. So I thought I'd mention that. The hallmarks, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Characteristics, the probably what draws you, what is important in Unitarian Universalism that you think characterizes Unitarian Universalism? And you can pass and we can go to the next person. Up to you, Alan.
I think I'll pass on that, and if you need me later, I'll come back.
Come on, Bill. Do we have anybody else on Zoom?
Yes, Penelope. Yes,
Hi.
Penelope.
I think for me, the hallmark is acceptance. I like to accept people the way they are and try not to prejudge. And I want to be accepted for me and who I am.
Beautiful, thank you.
When I attended the first musicians convention for Unitarianism, Neil and I went out to dinner. He had come with us. And it was my first year there. And I said to him, I'm sorry I'm not a member. I don't really like to join religions. I'm not one of those. And he put his hand up and he said, hold it right there. He said, we wouldn't let you be a member even if you wanted to be. I had to check my deodorant quickly. But I said, really? He said, yeah, because then you'd be, then I'd be your minister and your boss, and that's not really going to work out. But what strikes me as an important hallmark was what was mentioned before, the acceptance of people. And I always thought I was accepting until I got here. And I think this is still going to be the place where the rubber meets the road. The ability to accept Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Pillow Man.
Oh, God.
But really, if you are going to support that first item on the list, that's what we got to do. And I went, wow. You know, sometimes I hate to say it, glad I'm not a member. But there we are. I mean, that's a hallmark to me.
did we just lose Zoom? Yeah, we're going to work on getting that back. One of the hallmarks as well for me is taking our faith on the road. Sitting next to me are a couple of people who I won't call out by name, but who are exemplars of activism in our community. And I was drawn because of that particular aspect of our faith, is that we don't just sit and revel in it, we take it on the road.
So I'm going to shift the focus ever so slightly, and if there are maybe newer or new-ish folks that have a question about Unitarian Universalism that you would like some others of us to answer, I'm going to invite a question about Unitarian Universalism if you would like to participate in that piece. And while folks are pondering a question about Unitarian Universalism, Michelle, I'm going to let you know that we're going to deep six the final video because this is way better. Who has a question you would like to throw out that you would like to hear answered? You would like to hear some perspectives today about Unitarian Universalism?
Well, today the rubber meets the road, and I put it all on the line. So I love God, and that's the name I use for God, and I want to know if I can say that here. That's harder for me to say than I'm gay. You know, at the UUFNN. So just.
I heard several yeses. Are there someone or a couple of someones who would sit up here and expound on that yes just a little bit? Thank you, JJ.
Thank you. As I'm kind of stuck in my seat right now. I think that everybody, through their life experiences, sees their Creator a little bit differently. And if you choose to use the word God, I'm going to respect that because that's you through the perspective of your experiences. And with talking to you, you get to find out maybe something you're not aware of or you never thought of or you never considered before. As a person that was born a Christian and am now pagan, believe me, I've seen all kinds of things. And living in Texas, let me tell you. But the thing that I love about this that I never got in Texas was people going, yeah, okay, I can dig it. You know, I see your point of view. In Texas, you either believe what they believe or you're not accepted. There's no in between. There's no, you know, and I had a breakthrough with my mother-in-law a few days ago when she called to tell me about killing the babies. And I told her, I said, it's not a black and white issue. And I got her, through not getting angry with her and her difference of opinion, got her to actually say to me, you know what, you're right, it's not a black and white issue. And I'm going to, and I can agree to disagree with her and still love her from afar. And that's the one thing that I'm finding out, that being in this group is helping me learn to accept other opinions and other points of view and still be loved. That is an amazing thing. So, you know, there's that.
Just very briefly, I would change the word acceptance to welcoming. I think there's a big difference between, oh yeah, I accept that, to I welcome that. And I think what we do here is welcome everyone, regardless of how they say they believe, or what they believe, or I think we love everyone for who they are. And that's more welcoming than just acceptance, I think.
Well, what I was going to say, I think, has been said, but I want to tell you that I'm out with the people of the world, particularly on Wednesday, feeding our friends. And I had a very, and I've learned to say this to people, I've had a very bad experience, and so has Jane and a lot of people. This woman was walking this fancy dog with her friend down near 1st and West Street, and she said, "Get out of here. What are you people doing? Feeding these people. We need them gone." You know, and I just looked at her and I said, our commitment is to social justice. Everyone deserves to have a meal and a home, and we are supporting the people because we are working for social justice. And then that didn't really convince her, but she and her dog went into that very high, expensive high-rise. So anyway, I think you do have to say things, and I think God is welcome here. Because to me, God is the goodness in every single person in the world. So I welcome God because goodness is great.
Thank you. I was raised a Catholic, and I even went to parochial school. And I was taught things that I didn't really believe in, and I questioned them. I don't ever recall having conversations with my parents about what I didn't believe in. But for instance, first Friday of the month, we had to go to confession. I'm a little kid. I didn't feel I had made sins. So I used to actually make things up to tell a priest. So that's the beginning. And so I'm going to jump to now. And I have been involved with body work for 10 years. And it took me to a place that I never expected I could go to. I learned how to feel inside of people's bodies, what their bodies were doing. And my connection to God is through nature. And our bodies, our nature, they are this incredible mechanism, so many different systems, billions of cells, and everything is communicating with everything else. And then I started hearing myself saying, I am God. And that's not because I'm this incredible being that can do really fantastic things. It's because I am the miracle. And I think every one of us are this miracle. And we are godly in that way. Even our minds can make things happen. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be our attitude towards greater humanity and to ourselves. So that's what I have.
Elisa?
Well, honestly, I wanted to go back to the first question of what draws people here, and just the fact that I'm not able to come to services very often, even though I've loved every single one that I've come to since I've moved here to Reno. People know my name. People welcome me. And that draws me back over and over again, because this does feel like a family. This does feel like community. It feels like belonging. I know that's what like a lot of people have said, and I've noticed this is a very common experience. That's something that we all long for. We long for that sense of connection. We long for that sense of community. And for the God question, I'm also a person in long-term recovery. I've been sober for over 15 years, and I don't say that to brag. It's just what
a blessing in my life. And when I came into recovery, I'd experienced a lot of religious abuse. Grew up Catholic, grew up with a grandparent in extreme religiosity who was trying to cope with the world the best that she could, and I realized that now. But at the same time, it left me with a lot of wounds where every time I heard the word God, it's like, keep that away from me. What I learned from my friends in recovery was God could stand for good, orderly direction. That sounds pretty good to me because life can be very chaotic. Could also be a group of drunks, whatever you need, or the gift of desperation. In a way, it was desperation that brought me in here because, yes, I moved with friends, but still moving to a city I did not know, to a place I did not know, a state I did not know, you know, the whole 9 yards. It's like, oh, what's going to happen here? Am I going to land on my feet? What I learned was I'm landing with people. And even when I'm not able to be here, people are still walking with me. So that is something that I very much cherish about this fellowship. And so it's like, I don't really feel like I have a question as a newer associate, I guess you could say, of the UUFNN Church. It's more that everybody's already answering my questions. So thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you. Beautiful. So every now and then, a minister feels called in worship to take what might be considered a risk, and then you blow her away. So thank you for today. Clearly, you have a lot to say about Unitarian Universalism. We're not finished with this. Keith wanted to speak as well, so interact with Keith and hear what Keith has to say after our service. Let's keep this conversation going. We'll do it again at some point, but wow, thank you.
Yeah, I got the sense this could go on and on and on. Just a couple of announcements. Just first of all, thank you for being here and sharing today. This has just been great. Continue to support the posse. They really continue to need your assistance. And for programs and other information, check our website. Continue to keep up on what we're doing. Those on Zoom can stay on and have coffee time together and share with each other. I just want to say that, to me, the real hallmark of being a UU is answering the call to love.
Yeah. Karaoke. The promise of Spirit, faith, hope, and love of God, don't be so
beloveds, go from this place, and may we continue to experience and deepen and broaden and articulate and live all that it means to answer the call to love. Blessed be, amen, and namaste.
I would let you be a member.
You would what?
I would let you be a member.
Yeah, but then you'd be my minister and my boss at the same time. That's not going to work out well.
No, I was like the, who was it, Groucho Marx? I refuse to be a member of the Club of 370.
Yeah, no, that was Woody Allen.
Oh, Woody Allen.
Yeah. To have me as a member.
Yeah.
Made me laugh. But, you know, I had a relationship like that. Yeah, she couldn't understand why I loved her.